because I know Peter has a lot of things to do. Ladies and gentlemen, Peter Vallone. Thank you.
No problem.
Hey guys, how are you? All right, nice turnout in freezing cold weather.
This is actually nothing. You have
In
no
a hidden
idea.
little room upstairs that I couldn't find. I'm strolling around the restaurant for a while. First of all, I've been the public safety chair of the New York City Council for the last 11 years. I've been able to work very closely with Ray Kelly to keep crime, it's down 75% since 1991. It's down about another 35% since he and I took office in 2002. Before I get to my vision for Queens, I have public safety in my blood, so I want to give you guys a couple public safety tips. Crime is going up again in Queens, in the entire city, for the first time in about 20 years. If you remember 1991, well, most of you don't look like you were around in 1991, but crime was 75% higher than it is today. It was really out of control. Brian Watkins got stabbed on the subway defending his mom, and that was the impetus for my father to create the Safe Street, Safe City program, which put 10,000 more cops on the street. It went from 31,000 to 41,000. And in 2001, when we were attacked, we had 41,000 cops on the street. Now, inexcusably, the city has let that attrit down to under 35,000 cops. And I have warned that that, combined with the elimination of the Rockefeller drug laws, which all the politicians who got rid of it think it's the greatest thing in the world. I wrote an op-ed at the time that it will mean drug dealers are going right back onto the street, and that's exactly what's happening. If you know any cops, talk to them, they will tell you that the same drug dealers are arrested 1, 2, 5, 10 times. They say they're addicts, marijuana addicts, by the way. I don't happen to know any marijuana addicts, but every drug dealer that's arrested is a marijuana addict, gets their treatment, comes straight back out onto the street, and less cops to deal with them. And you know the drug dealers, it's not just about dealing drugs, there's a lot of violence involved with the drug gangs. So you've got less cops, more criminals. Crime is going up everywhere in New York for the first time. So be safe. A couple things. The main crime that's up citywide, stealing phones, especially iPhones. Okay, so be very careful. I don't recommend you ever talk on the phone while walking. I do it, everyone does it occasionally, but pay attention because they are looking for distracted individuals. Not just to take your phone, but to rob you also. Be aware of where you are. You know if you're being followed. You know if you're being set up, if you're paying attention. You're on the phone, they're looking for you, and they're looking for that phone. You're going to grab it right out of your hand. If you're on a train, especially an above-ground train, you got that phone out. As soon as the door's shutting, they're grabbing it out the door as the door shuts. So be very careful. You think you're being followed, probably are. Duck into a store, and if there's no store, that's when you take out the cell phone. And you're like, hey, honey, where are you? I'm looking for you. Or 911. I think I'm being followed. That's when you take out that phone. A lot of scams going on too. I think everybody knows by now if you get an email from a Nigerian prince who has a lot of money, they need you to get it out of the account, it's a scam, right? You know that, David?
Yeah, I got caught last week actually.
Well, you may have. A lot of smart people get caught now because they bumped it up. Now you're getting emails from friends addressed to you personally. Hey, David, I don't know if you knew, I took a quick trip to Europe this weekend. Got into a little trouble in the bar, I'm stuck in jail. I don't want my family to know, can you send me money? It's amazing. They send it out with your name on it, with a scenario that looks plausible. And it's even worse, sometimes they're actually making phone calls. I don't know how they sound like these people, but I'm hearing about phone calls being made from people saying, it's your niece, it's your friend, I'm stuck wherever, I need some money. One was an elected official who got one of these. I got an email from an elected official saying I'm stuck in whatever, and one of the elected officials' friends called me up and said, help him out. No, it's not easy. It's okay. So these scams are getting really fancy. So pay attention. And don't buy anything from anybody who's coming to your door. Don't buy anything from anybody who's calling you on the phone. Odds are it's a scam. A lot of electric companies coming around now. Saying switch from they're saying they're Con Ed. Can I see your bill? I can save you money. Not Con Ed. Those guys visit me before. Yeah. I mean, I'm no fan of Con Ed. So if these guys want you to change from Con Ed, normally I would say do it. But these companies, they won't leave the stuff with you to look at because if you look at it, it's an adjustable rate. For the first month or two, yeah, they're going to save you money. And then after 2 months, it shoots up, and then you can call David or I and say, hey, I'm stuck in a contract for 10 years. So because you didn't read it because you stand it on the street. So don't you see these little signs on doors now that I give out to my people, and if you need one, you can always reach out to me on Facebook, and I'll send you a little sign that says "Don't solicit on my property. Don't leave any paper. Don't leave any materials on my property." I just put in a new law to amend that. If you can say "Don't leave any materials on my property," let's make it say "Don't come on my property. Don't solicit at my door. I don't want you. I'm having dinner. Don't bother me at my home." If you so I put that bill in. You can't stop, like Jehovah's Witnesses. You have to go to a higher authority than me to do that. That's a religious freedom. You can't stop elected officials, prevent people who are running for office, because that's, again, freedom of speech. But I think you can't stop people trying to sell stuff. That doesn't fall under freedom of speech to me. That's harassment at your home. So I put a bill in to try to get that done. I am, as David said, running for borough president. I announced not too long ago. Things are going very, very well. I've got more money raised than most other candidates, including this very fine one who just walked in here, Leroy Comrie. Let's hear for Leroy. Leroy and I, we just had another event together at the Black History Month celebration. We joked we're going to save money. We're going to just take a car together to all these different events. As I said, I'm public safety chair, and I'm the only candidate with public safety experience. And I intend to bring that to the borough president's office. The fact that I know how to keep Queens safe. I was a prosecutor for 6 years prior to being elected, and then for 10 years after that, I was a defense attorney. So I know both sides of the situation. I know what it takes to keep Queens safe, and that's one of the things I'm going to use the borough president's office for, to continue to fight for more police officers, to continue to fight to keep Queens safe. The second thing I bring is the fact that I'm a small businessman, and that's very, very important in Queens, especially in our immigrant communities. They're all small business people, and I am one. I ran my family law firm, which is 5 employees. It's a small law firm. It's been in Queens since 1932. I ran that for 10 years before being elected. I know what it's like to make a payroll. I know what it's like when government continues to pass laws which just fine small businesses, aggressive enforcement against small businesses, tax raises on small businesses. Try running a restaurant nowadays with the harassment you go through with the inspectors, different inspectors every few months, asking for different things every time. So I know that because I am a business person, and everything I do as borough president is going to be done as a business person, as a small business person, and that is going to create jobs, and that is going to help bring back our economy. Other than that, I have a long record of fighting for Queens. Google it. Everybody's going to say they have a long record. Google the stuff I say. Just make sure everything I say is accurate. When the snowstorm came, you heard me out there louder than anyone else screaming about Queens not being plowed. When Northwest Queens was in a blackout for 9 days, you heard me out there taking on Con Ed. When they wanted to take civic virtue, and they did, a big statue on Queens Boulevard, you heard me out there fighting for that. No one else was. Queensboro Bridge, you heard me out there virtually alone fighting against them taking our bridge away. Manhattan took our bridge away. The speaker and the mayor took away the Queensboro Bridge, renamed it Ed Koch Queensboro Bridge. I have nothing against Ed Koch. He was always a friend of mine. I always endorsed him. I said, let's name the building next to City Hall. Beautiful building, a municipal building. You go over the Brooklyn Bridge. By the way, they would never change the Brooklyn Bridge. Can you imagine if they would have changed that to the people on Brooklyn Bridge or the Leroy Comrie or Manhattan Bridge? That will never, ever happen. But for some reason, it was okay. It was okay to play with the Queensboro Bridge. And I was out there fighting that virtually alone. And it's just case after case. I've been out there fighting for Queens, and I want to continue to do that. I've done a lot for Astoria. Astoria is doing very, very well. That's the area I represent now. And I love public service. It's been in my blood. My grandfather was a judge. My father was speaker for 27 years or so. So I learned that public service is a noble profession. The good thing about Queens right now, one of the good things is it has a lot of good people running for office. Brooklyn has one person. That makes absolutely no sense to me that one person is running for Brooklyn. And I know there's at least 6 of us, Leroy and I and a few other people, running for office. Queens would be very lucky to have Leroy or me, or 1 or 2 of the others, who are running for borough president. But Queens is very lucky to have that choice. So I know Leroy's here. I normally would go on for a little bit longer, but I don't want to be rude. So I know you have someone else to hear from. Should I take questions? Should I not?
That's up to you.
If I do, it'll be very quick because I don't want to kind of keep Leroy waiting. Anybody have a question about what I said or what my plans are, or maybe an issue I didn't discuss or something like that? Yes, sir.
Why do you want to be borough president?
Why do I want to be borough president? Because my office is on 31st Street, which is also next to a train station like this, so I'm used to this. I love coming into my office every day, saying to my staff, who are we going to help today? It's an awesome position, if done right. Nothing bothers me more than when it's not done right. When I read about another elected official abusing public money or abusing the public trust, I am outraged because I think it's close to a sacred trust that you elect somebody to make decisions on your behalf. You're hardworking people. You're not aware of everything that's going on. You're electing somebody, you expect them to represent you in every way possible, and so many don't. And you know, I have kids, raised them here in Queens, went to public school and then went to Catholic high school, and I want to continue to make Queens what I think is the greatest county in the world. It's got a lot to be done. Crime is starting to go back up again. I've warned about that. That concerns me a lot. I want to continue to use the borough presidency of Queens as a bully pulpit to fight for safe streets, to fight for our businesses. Those are the two most important things to me. A lot of other issues, a lot of other important issues, education, things like that. But if everything's a priority, then nothing's a priority. So those will be my priorities. And I could very easily get out of public service and go back to my law firm or get a lot of money someplace else. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do it. I want to keep serving the public because I love doing it. It's not easy. We were around every night. I've got 2 more of these. We don't get home till 10 o'clock at night. We're up for breakfast in the morning. We have breakfast we have to get to. Weekends, all weekend long, and not just running for office, also while you're in office. But I love doing it, and I just want to serve the public. Sounds corny, but it's true. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
As for president, what would be one of your first priorities? What would what is to you one of the first things that you want to start working on?
Well, it's rebuilding after Sandy is huge now, and that's going to take somebody with business experience to get it done. I can't tell you I have a plan in place right now that other people haven't thought of, but every action that we take has to be looked at from a small business point of view. I'd like to establish, as part of my office, a small business center right in Queens Borough Hall, where you can come in with any questions and have all the city agencies there and everything you need in one place. We're still working at the city council to try to streamline things for small businesses. One of the things I want to do is, as I said, is continue to fight for more cops for Queens. Every time they need police officers to go to an event, to go to babysit Occupy Sandy or something like that, Occupy Wall Street, they take them from Queens County. And we parks officers, we're down to about 2 parks officers for all of our Queens parks. I just did a story about that on Channel 4 last night, I think. That's outrageous. That's outrageous. There are 75 in Central Park alone, but we have 2 for the entire county of Queens. Crime in parks is up 8%. It's up 4% citywide. It's up 8% in parks. One of the reasons is we don't have enough parks officers. So I'm going to, immediately I think we have to get our arms around this crime situation and continue to fight for that, which I've been doing for 11 years now. I want to use my business background to help rebuild after Sandy. We get, as borough president, it's not the office it used to be when it comes to power. We've got appointments to boards. It's mostly what you make of it. And other borough presidents have done, you all know Marty Markowitz. He's a cheerleader. I don't think anybody has as big a mouth as I do, so I'm gonna do what Marty Markowitz does. When it comes to Ruben Diaz, he's got a lot of legislation that he's been working with him now on a bill. Complicated point to, I don't want to hold you up, but I've been lot of policy. I'm going to be involved in policy. My office is going to be the focal point for the people of Queens if they need help. It's going to fight for Queens funding, for libraries, for our parks officers, for our cops. And I'm going to be out there. You're going to see me fighting for Queens every day, and it's going to start on day one. Okay?
What about your education as far as the school stuff go? Because
One of the things we can do as Borough President is fund schools. Helen Marshall's been very good at that. And you know, I've been to areas, I just came from College Point where there's no middle school. Kids are bust out the middle schools all over the place. So we've got to find good locations for schools. We've got to make sure we build those schools. As I said, my kids were in public school. They grew up, I stood outside with divorced dad, so I stood outside with the moms and everyone else picking them up. I know exactly what's going on in those schools because I've been at every parent-teacher conference. I know, how good most of our teachers are, the vast majority of our teachers. I know we got to get rid of those bad teachers because that's a huge problem.
yeah,
And
because
luckily,
not for nothing, but the graduation rates in the New York City area, you have, when it's less than 50% or 60% graduation rate, that's a huge problem. Because this is our future. I understand you're concerned about, the safety of the residents and the whole police thing and everything else. But I never hear people talk enough about the schools.
I hear that way
And
everywhere I go, so
and-
that's why I figured you were sick of hearing about schools.
Oh, no.
Everybody wants better schools.
That to me is like, that's one of the, I think, main things that most of the elected officials should really
One of the things
focus
we have
on.
to do, and you won't hear from other elected officials, is get rid of the bad teachers. And I'm not talking about teachers who abuse people, teachers who hit somebody.
No, teachers
It takes
that
years
just
to
don't know
get,
how
yeah,
to teach.
exactly. It takes years to get rid of those. Those, if you hit somebody. Forget teachers who don't want to teach anymore. I know they exist. I've been there. I've watched them when I sat in the back of my daughter's room. Mayor teachers is just you show up and it's like, read this chapter today, or watch this film today. They're done. They don't want to teach anymore. You can't get rid of them. And the next year's kids are sentenced to that bad teacher. 90% of our teachers more. Excellent. My oldest daughter's in Notre Dame now, on a public school education. That's how good. Definitely didn't come from me, right? So it had to come from the teachers that she was smart enough to make Notre Dame. Yes.
I was just going to say, I actually at one point thought I wanted to be a teacher, and I actually had to do some observation. I won't say the school that I looked at, but it was in Queens, and I was actually appalled that
You won't hear that.
the teacher had first graders reading to themselves. Now, I remember being a first grader, and you could not get me in first grade wanting to read to my own self. And I was actually very shocked. I said that she had, one girl was sleeping, and she allowed the 7-year-old sleep. And I couldn't go into their personal files. Supposedly some of these kids had certain issues, but I don't remember being in first grade and my head falling on the desk and a teacher allowing me to sleep in class.
Can you imagine?
So I said that I know teaching could not be for me, but then when I spoke to the teacher, I could not understand why she allowed this behavior. Not for nothing, some of these teachers, if you speak to them, they're putting it on parents. Now, my sister is a teacher, and sometimes I think it's a two-way street. I know we say, teachers are bad, but I also feel that if parents also showed a stronger interest, I think some of these teachers will wake up and smell the coffee and realize, parents are taking an interest, maybe I need to take more of an interest too. So I think it's a two-way street. Maybe there should be some type of programs for some parents to come in. I don't know, because I felt like this particular school was doing more babysitting than teaching. And all she told me was, parents were dropping the children off late to school at 9 when school started at 8. So some of these teachers don't care because if the parents don't care, it's like, why should I care? So I think it could be a two-way street.
There are some deep-rooted problems that are not solved by throwing money at the problem, and you've just named 2 of them. And if you want to be my liaison to the education community, I'll be taking applications because you know what you're talking about. I love to answer questions, but I don't want this man to sit here.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm
that's gonna be the
sorry.
last
Okay,
question.
yeah.
That's gonna be,
I'd like to say, can I ask one thing?
the only thing is, Councilmember Leroy Kramer also has 2 additional events to go to, and I wanna give him an opportunity. If you came late, I apologize, that's why I send emails. I know all of you have received like 4 40 texts from me about the time we're starting, 30 minutes to go, 10 seconds. So if you came late, I'm sorry, but let's allow Peter to close.
Just say goodbye, wait, before you go, hold on one
Yeah,
second.
he's gonna close.
I just want to, this is a great turn. I go to, Leroy, I go to clubs with this 6 people, and there's so many, you could be watching some American Idol, some show on tonight, but you're not. You're out here at this meeting, listening to people, just telling you about their vision for Queens, and it's people like you that have made Queens the greatest county in the world. So thank you for listening in, and God bless.
So without further ado, let's introduce